it's just nuts because there's 1,000 things to learn. There's 1,000 things that cross over from other farming experience. I mean, I've never had a citrus tree that I could just chop in half and throw on the ground.
Yep.
And it would grow. So that's kind of cool experience, you know. But it's also just been like, man, like I learned don't ever root something when it's cold. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you these guys. These guys, that's my theory at least. All of these. You've been
doing this 7 months, and look at the amount of plant material you have.
All of these were rooted when it's cold. So if I pull on this, it's not. You're not looking
guy's
like
rooting, though. This one did.
So this one's rooted, but this guy,
he's got a little bit.
He's just barely starting to come.
Yeah,
no, that was a piece of wood. See, so I'm trying to cheat and get the best of both worlds. I mixed that UC mix 50-50 with the potting soil that I made on your bonus because I really like how yours drains. I think it's probably the best soil. But man, I got so excited by the crazy root growth I was getting in there, so I've been mixing a little bit in and cheating my way through. But
so do you think the humus is helpful? Because Paul Thompson talks about using that as his media for dragon fruit as well. Or he did talk about it.
Well, so I think you're right, and I especially think Gary's right about potting soil. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to grow these in a pot. I don't want a potted plant in my house.
Yep.
And so if you're talking about potting soil, yes, you want it to be more inert, and you want to add the nutrients in yourself. You don't want those nutrients to become from something biodegrading.
Yes.
Because what'll happen is eventually you're going to reach some equilibrium where it's not biodegrading anymore. You're going to get oxygen stale, and you're going to go anaerobic, and you're going to get root rot. Whereas in the ground, water's always moving through it. Sun's always coming down on it. There's a lot more going on in there. And so I think you have to treat the ground differently than you would treat a pot. You don't get as hot in the ground as you'd get in a pot. Because that pot gets in the sun and it heats up and all that stuff's baking in there, and it's even changing the profile of the soil because it's baking it so much. And it, another experiment we've done in here, we tried to put some citrus trees in pots and they baked. It was like putting them in the oven. We'd have huge amounts of good roots and it just didn't match the temperature of the top of the tree, and so it just baked the tree up.
And it just failed in the long term.
It failed in the short term too. We're successful, man. We can really go for it when we want to.
Yeah,
we can fail quickly and often.
I would love to grow in this setup, but my problem is gophers. So when I have to grow in pots, it's because we have so many gophers that just they come in from all the neighbors' yards, and so it's impossible for me to keep dragon fruit growing alive in the ground. And that's why I'm using pots.
Now, have you experimented at all with like the Kevin style pots where you drill a bunch of small holes in it?
I am drilling a lot of holes in my pots, and that I think improves my dragon fruit. I think it's a better thing. But I agree with you. Like if I could do another plot in my yard, I may just invest more money and do something like this berm.
Well, this actually, if gophers is your poison, this berm actually might be.
So this could be a new method.
Very successful, right? Because you could, if you needed to. I mean, I don't know if a gopher will go through weed cloth or not.
Well, I can use metal instead, right?
We've actually got. Yeah, you could use wire cloth. We've actually got a bottom piece to this. This isn't just the sides. So this basket here, and you may just get. I'll give you a website. This is Gabion wall.
Okay.
We bought Gabion wall and just used 3 sides of it.
Okay.
And so you can get smaller holes on it too, I believe.
So
or
if I
we
can
just
make
attach
this
wire cloth to it.
Gopher proof, this would
if you can
probably
make
be
this
a much better
gopher-proof
thing than pots.
So your roots can still go through things gophers can't go through and get out, and the gophers can eat what they want of it, but they can't get to your main root system. And I think a berm or an alternate to this that you might try is a trough.
Okay.
We have some citrus trees over there and those long air pots they call them hedge pots. Mm-hmm. And I've been loving those things, man. Those things air the soil up. They keep it real, they let it dry out really well. Lots of oxygen gets in there, and they're self-pruning, so you don't root bound. The roots grow out to the edge of the air pots and then die, and then it channels that growth to somewhere else instead of just spinning around in the pot and keep growing.
Thing too?
I think those air pots will be a great idea for people that have to grow in pots.
Okay.
You just have to put like they have that wire mesh that you put in like light concrete applications, so like 1/2 or 1/4 inch holes. Put that across the bottom of the hedge pot so the gopher can't come up through it. Yeah. But then try those hedge pots.
Okay.
I've had great success with those on other applications.
Yeah, I was looking at them on your citrus, and they seem to work really well.
And then this is probably not commercially viable, but it's close to my heart. I have my father-in-law's named Cat, so I have 3 varieties. I call them Cat R1 for Cat Red 1, Cat White 1, and Cat White 2. And it's a self-fertile red. No idea what variety it is. You can tell me in a couple of years once I'm getting fruit from it. And then I've got self-fertile white, and then a self-fertile white that they say 95+% of the flowers all come to with no, it sets really well with no hand pollination at all. They'll get 95% self-fertile and isn't there another term?
Self-pollinating.
Self-pollinating and self-fertile, so they don't touch it, and 95% of the flowers grow.
It just grows and will set fruit on its own pretty much.
And it's decent fruit, but it's like you gotta eat it. You gotta eat it off the tree. Like you gotta let it ripen all the way. You know, some fruit you can kind of pick it early and stick it in the fridge for a while, and then it turns out good. The whites here that I have, they're kind of, you just gotta pick them ripe and eat them. You know, they're ready to go. Maybe put it in the fridge long enough to cool it down.
Okay.
So that's just fun because it's family and because it's the ones that got me into it.
These are the ones that got you into it, right?
Yeah, no, that's where it all came from. And then I've got some of them rooted faster than others. So I put all these in the small pots. Oh, that's another thing that I've been doing, and I don't have any idea if it's a good idea or not.
Small pots?
But I start really small.
Yep.
I start small in these little guys, and as soon as basically what I do is I squeeze the sides and I push, and if the whole thing comes out together and there's roots poking, see this one I can already tell it's not ready because it's the root ball's falling apart.
This one's ready.
Right? So there's just a little bit of root poking out there. I like it so that when I pull this out, it doesn't fall apart.
Yep.
As soon as I can pull this out and it doesn't fall apart, then I'm ready to go to the next size, which I do in these citrus pots. These things are amazing. One, they're really easy to manage because I can put 8, and the soil's super light as long as I haven't watered recently.
And so they're on a stand?
So they're on a stand, so they're not falling over. I can transplant straight into there. It's got lots of aeration. There's these holes. All these are drain holes on the bottom, so you can't overwater it. And with that, between the light soil and the extra drain holes on these things, I get great results rooting these. And before I had these, I was putting them into the 1-gallon pots, and they like those. But I think this is really the way to go for ease of management, especially on a commercial scale.
Start small as well. I've been experimenting. It's funny you did this because I've been using Starbucks cups. So I'm trying to see, is a 1-gallon pot or a Starbucks cup, is there a difference? So
far as I can tell, these little rooting trays, I'm actually reusing all the ones that, these are what the university ones came in.
So
so I've been reusing them, You know, you wash the pot out. You don't want to transfer any disease through it. You sterilize it with a little peroxide if you'd like to. And then I just plant straight back into it. And I've used these particular ones probably 5 or 6 times already.
Wow.
Just because I'm getting so many cuttings, and then my father-in-law brought me a ton of cuttings, and then I bought a bunch of cuttings from you, and so it's just been, there's been a lot of learning, there's been a lot of varieties. I think we started with 27 varieties from the university, everything they had in stock, and then you gave me like 10 more varieties, and now you just brought me like 3 more, or 4 more. I got Bruni!